Welcome to our webinar series. The number one thing we want, this is a very informal, we'll be going through and looking at a lot of different stuff. I'll be jumping on and off the PowerPoint slides, looking at a variety of different things. Please, please, please ask a lot of questions as we go through this. This is for the benefit of not just you, for those, many of you have probably watched our webinars after the fact. As you ask questions, we'll repeat those and answer them live so people have an idea of the questions that are being asked. So we will address those rather than always in writing. We'll try to address them live on the webinar itself, vocally on here. But one of the things people are always asking us is, do I have to use the Snowie brand? And the answer is absolutely not. Snowie is very much our expertise, if you will, really is manufacturing. You know, is there any value of one brand versus another? And, well, let's look at what branding is. If you look at it in a definition, simply put, branding is your promise to your customer. It tells them what they can expect from your products and services, and it differentiates your offering from that of your competitors. The problem is, how long does it take to establish that? You can open up in an area and it may take a few years, it may take a few weeks, depending on what you do and how you market that. But if you are starting at ground zero, you've got to create that name. And as you look at businesses that you do business with in your communities, how long have they been there? How long did it take them to create that brand, to establish themselves, that people began to recognize it for quality? In fact, as I talked about, I'm going to jump from some different things. This is one of the things that I routinely talk with people about as I talk to different events that we get into, or even the locations as we go through it, that I like to let them understand. One is our visual image and walk-up appeal, and we've attached a picture to it. Talk about the product quality, something that sets apart. You don't create that attentiveness instantaneously with product quality. It's something that you come into that comes over time, that people begin to recognize it. In fact, it was interesting today. I had somebody asking me some questions versus a competitor, and they made the comment to me about how much better the quality of our flavors was versus that competitor. And that's something that is, again, establishes over time. The quality of service that comes with that. We look at the financial impact both to the business or the organization that we're working with. We happen to promote, oh, look at that, a typo. We happen to promote our company, who we are and who we hire, and the emphasis we have on our employees and their involvement in the business. And then always one of the key things is our reputation, that we go with that. So when we look at that branding, it is very much all the things that you do that are established over time. And so a customer, up just because they see Snowie, may not say, what does that mean? However, Snowie brings, and we'll talk about the Snowie name itself, but if you want to bring it in and put it under your own brand, not a problem. And that's where Snowie comes in. We are a manufacturing company. Our specialty, ice equipment. But that allows you to put your name, your brand on our equipment. It's well designed. It's, as we say, very customizable, and I'll show you some examples in a minute. It also allows you to have the design and manufacturing, all the problems. We've worked with the Board of Health to make sure we get things through simply, easily, that you don't have to redesign something from the ground up. This allows a little bit simpler way of doing it by simply putting your name on the outside of ours. And so the customization, and sometimes it's not just the shave ice. We have people that do some other food lines that I'll demonstrate in just a few minutes. But the key is, it's your business, and you own that. Now, me give some examples here. Remember where I... Oh. Here are some examples of different things we have done. Example, this is itty bits. So we have, some of you may recognize this. This happens to be our 8-foot cart. But they've customized it to put the itty bits name on it, and we're fine with that. Again, our job is to be a manufacturer. And you'll see variations. Here's another place that they wanted to put their name on. Grant's Farm is a large community service. It's a kind of farmer's market thing, but they want to customize to what they do. So you can come in and do that. You also have in here Euro snacks. These are, I think, Aaron, correct me if I'm wrong, this is a Belgian waffles.
Belgian waffles, French hot dogs, but they do everything in the winter as well.
Yeah, and they're very much a winter operated. But we have, obviously, some coffee locations that do that. What, Aaron?
Oh, nothing. I'll add to it at the end. You're go ahead.
Here's a gelato manufacturer, and if I'm jumping too fast, Aaron, make sure you tell me so we don't lose people in here. So you can see that customization. Now, we wanted to also talk about some things we don't do. This is something we are no longer going to be doing, is our name on a different kind of background. It needs to be our name, our logo across the board as we do that. But that's just to give you an idea of the different kind of customizing that we do. Now, some have asked us to customize that use even the Snowie name. Here's one that you can see if you come from the left, you get the Snowie name at the top, the lemonade at the bottom. From the right, it reverses. From the front, you see it all. And they sell out of this both lemonade and shave ice. A very simple, straightforward, kind of a fun way of doing things and offering a couple of different products. That happens to be our 12-foot building that you're looking at there. So it allows for, again, that customization on a very simple, straightforward way. So going back to the idea of your business. So we have our, what does it mean to be your business? If Snowie is just simply the manufacturer, so we make the equipment and you're now on your own. That means, very simply, you don't have to mess with a parent company. Now, if you use the Snowie name, you still don't. We don't breathe down your neck. We don't tell you how high to jump and how many cups need to be where, and it needs to be, the shaver located 14 inches from the front window and blah, blah, blah. You run your business, and we let you do that. But under your own brand and your own name, one of the problems that people have and why franchises have always been beneficial is that you didn't have access to expertise. And so you have that limitation, and many people struggle through that. How do I find that expertise? How do I get that? The other problem is there's no track record except looking at your competition. As an example, if you were to want to get into the coffee business and open up a coffee shop, obviously the one everybody tries to be is a Starbucks. Now you can go buy equipment just like Starbucks. You can go in, look at the equipment they have, buy it, stick it on. But you can't walk into Starbucks and say, okay, I've got the same equipment. Will you tell me how to market this and how to get customers in and what are the kind of things I should be doing? How do I train my employees? They're not going to share that. That's their branding, not just of the name, but the way they manage and run the company. You've got to discover that on your own. So it means you've got to create and invent all of your own systems in the way you process, invite customers, all the marketing, everything from A to Z. It also means creating your own brand name and recognition, and thus over time, creating that recognition of quality, creating that recognition of the quality of the name, the quality of the product, the visual appeal, the instant recognition that goes with that. But it also means you have no support system as you're doing it. You own it top to bottom all the way across. And we encourage people to do that, and we have a lot that do it. But there's a lot of people that said, well, is there any value to the Snowie name? And we thought it might be beneficial, and this is really the key of what we want to address tonight, is what is the brand equity? And if you're unfamiliar with that, a term commonly used in the selling of businesses is called goodwill. And it's the recognition of the name and what it does for people when they see that instant recognition, and that instant saying, oh, we know that company, we know the quality, we know the name. Here in our community, there has some of that example. We've been here for a number of years, and people know that on it. But it's surprising how many people find us from other areas. So they walk up and immediately say, oh, we know you, we've seen you. In fact, it's that instant recognition comes in a variety of ways. Snowie is now in all 50 states. We are in 44 different countries. And I'm really bummed. I've told Aaron I was trying to go back and find some pictures from other countries. I've had somebody had emailed me from Japan, said, oh, I was in Japan, look at what I've seen. And they sent me this picture. I had somebody do it in a couple of different countries in South America. I had somebody in Australia. And so they sent this, and it was very intriguing to see them instantly saying, we know your brand and we've seen it somewhere else, which also means as they show up at that location, that we have people coming from other places here that also instantly recognize us. We have people that show up at a soccer tournament that they've been to other soccer tournaments in other places in the country, and instantly they see our windsock, they see the building, they already know the quality of what's going to be there. And so there is an added equity and an added instant recognition. There are over 4,000 people marketing under the Snowie name literally across the globe, with the majority in the United States. With that, some people say, yeah, now that means I'm just one of many. You know, that we're going to suffer from, is there saturation? And I will tell you this, the two most saturated places in the country for Snowie happens to be Salt Lake City and Cincinnati, Ohio. And I mean, Aaron, you can step in here. Do you ever feel like the Snowie name is overdone there? And I know here it's not. In fact, we are currently looking at opening anywhere from 2 to 4 new locations, you know, on top of what we've done. And I feel like I could easily go to 20 stationary locations without ever saturating anything, and that's just one little town in a very large United States. The reputation that
we have.
I'm sorry?
Oh. I was just saying I would agree. I have a lot of people that will call and say, well, have you guys sold to Atlanta before? And my answer is, of course, yes. But they automatically have a concern. Man, if you've sold to this area before, then maybe I shouldn't do it because somebody is here doing it. And really, that is my first example is, man, I do shaved ice in Salt Lake City, and there is shaved ice everywhere here. And so I would say, yeah, the saturation is not a factor.
But is the saturation under the Snowie name, or is it competitors?
Well, both. There's a lot of people doing Snowie here, and there's a lot of people under other names here as well. But yeah. Anyway, but it's never an issue.
But it's interesting. I have 12 units. There are also here in Cincinnati, I have 6 other Snowie vendors, and some of them said, you know, as they bought it, they've had conversations with me about, is this going to be a problem? And I'm like, why don't you talk to some of the other vendors? And the one thing that we have found is how often we are actually helping each other. That people say, oh, I've seen this location, or I've seen you at this event. And it actually builds the brand equity by working together with them. And there are times, like there are events I can't do, I'm referring it to the other Snowie vendors in the area. They're sending some to me. That we have found a great way of networking together. And we try to get together when we can, at least once a year, to sit down and talk about who's going where, who's doing what, and we build the branding as a whole rather than all of us fighting individually. And so it actually brings added value to the name in the community because we're all working in unison, and it allows us to now create a better branding over any of our competition. And so that's something that you get under that Snowie brand, is an instant camaraderie and an ability to work with others marketing the same name, and so you benefit from their efforts as well as how they benefit from yours. But you also, the reputation that comes with Snowie is the durability and dependability of the equipment. From your perspective, it's the visual appeal to the customer. It is that product quality that we try to build, not just equipment, but the flavors. And all of you know, we're working on new things. For those that may not know, in April we'll be introducing a new additive for the healthy snack requirements for the government for schools. And this is a very big concern, and most of the companies out there, they're adding a vitamin D, or they're adding the calcium. And your choice was you could do potassium, calcium, or vitamin D, and you can pick one of the three, and you have to meet a certain requirement in there. And in the keeping with the way that we do things and trying to be the better quality and be the one company that stands out from the rest, ours is actually going to be a little different. So instead of just doing a vitamin D or a calcium, we're doing both vitamin D and calcium combined, and we're sticking magnesium in it, because what that does is allows the body to absorb the vitamin D and the calcium more easily. And so what we're saying is, instead of being a me too, we want to continue in a trend of separating us or making us different from the competition. And that's just one for the way that if there's a requirement we need to meet, then let's do it better than anybody else. And that's something that's going to be available to anybody that wants to have access, but it gives you, again, sets you apart from the competition. The other advantage of the Snowie brand is that access to Snowie expertise. You know, we've got, in fact, it's kind of fun, the number of people on here. I recognize a number of names that many of you have done business with us, learning how to get into the business. I've called up and asked questions. I'm trying to get into this event. Tim Clark's on here. Tim, I hope you don't mind my picking on you a little bit. Tim's called me a couple of times, and he's had some events, and things didn't go right. How could I change that? And we've talked through some issues that have helped him improve going forward. We have, how does he approach certain vendors, and we've been able to give him some ideas and some expertise in that. As I look through the names on here, it's kind of fun to say who's here and the ways that they have accessed us in helping them market their business. You also have access to all the resource materials that Snowie has, the things we have spent years developing, that you're not having to go back and literally not just build the brand, but build the operation of the systems on it. So we used to have this $20 package, and now we've got rid of the $20, but we kept the package. And this is, when you do business under the Snowie name, here are the things that you have access to. So we're going to go through and say, okay, if you're running a location, well, I need to get a contract when I go in and talk to this shopping center. So they, you know, instead of these big ones that tie to brick and mortar and the contract's 48 pages long and deals with issues that have no relevance to you, we have designed one with a lawyer to keep it very simple, straightforward, and meets the requirements that almost any marketing company would like to use. And many of them like ours because of its simplicity. How do I keep my employees from ripping me off? The cup count sheet. Thus, that's in there. Open and close checklist, deliveries. And you read down through this. In fact, what happens is when, sorry, I got to find the right thing here. These are, you'll see this Snowie share. When somebody signs a trademark agreement with Snowie to use our name, we give them access to all this different stuff. And this is literally all the different forms. You want to do financing? We've got all the forms, putting together a business plan, the lease agreements, the financials that go with that, personal financial statement. Here's my building management, all the various forms that we use. Whether it's, okay, what cup sizes and pricing, and a decal to create those. Open and close checklists, the worksheets, as we talked about, to help your employees. And you'll see here marketing materials, running a bus, delivering and stocking, hiring employees. How do I train them? Now, this is your training supply forms to go through in a checklist. When I'm trying to do some marketing out here, I need buy 6, get 1 free cards, business cards. All of these are accessible, and so you'll see a whole series of things, and that's just the form side of it. In addition to that, then we have all the marketing materials. These are media releases that we're developing that you can send off to me. When you're opening, send this off and let the media know you're opening a new location, or you're going to be at certain events. Tell them where your bus is going to be, or maybe you're doing a charitable event, you're doing fundraising for it. Make them aware of it. Aaron, why don't you take a minute and talk about the media marketing?
Yeah, so one thing that we've done, so...
Oh, I can barely hear you.
Can you hear me?
Now I can.
You can barely hear me. Is it better right now or no?
Go ahead. You're good.
Okay. So the one thing that we announced this at the summit, and you're actually talking about a few things that we announced and actually had there, but there was a gentleman named Derek Sidaway that works for Grassroots PR, and they work for Snowie. And one thing that we wanted to do was pass that on to each of you. So it's actually a cost that Snowie is absorbing, that we allow them to then go out and pitch the news media, whether it's print, whether it's television, and also community papers and things like that on a smaller level, that whenever you go into an area, whenever you do something, and this can be for people who have existed for a long time, or those of you who are brand new and looking for a way to grow your presence, this is a great way to do it. So Derek actually has and you know what, I'll actually put his email up here so you guys can contact him directly. But he'll give you a questionnaire. You go through and you fill out that questionnaire. He gets it back, and then he will pitch media in your area for you. And then all of a sudden you'll be contacted saying, hey, can you have a TV pitch or a TV segment done on you at such and such time? And he'll arrange that and make that happen. And he actually has some examples for you where we did it with a couple people, Yolanda and Richard Voss, and things like that. Anyway, it's a great thing, and it obviously creates exposure for you. It creates exposure for Snowie as well, which is why we are doing it too. And so it's a big win-win for both of us, all of us. So anyway, that's it in a nutshell.
Thank you. Now, the other thing you see there is the website locator. Again, another thing we introduced to the Snowie Summit. If you are not familiar with this, I'm going to scroll up here. Now, in this upper corner, just click on this, and it brings up a locator site. And I can type in here, okay, Cincinnati. Let's go searching. The other thing it tells me is I haven't got all my locations up, but immediately shows a couple of these locations here that are popped up on the screen. And we can click on one. This is the Cherry Grove Plaza. This happens to be one of my locations. So I've got it in here, gives the address. I've got somebody that actually reviewed me. They love me. Here's the address, the physical address of it, your phone number, Facebook option. Click on, gives you a map you can go to. Now this tells them currently that we're open May 1st to the September 30th. As we get closer, we'll be putting in when we're opening, put what our school hours and summer hours are on there. But we want to get them started. And you can have customers come in and writing reviews. So you'll be able to go in here as doing business under the Snowie name. You'll be able to put this in and have somebody get in and sign in saying, how do I find somebody in the area? And Aaron, I would like your input on this, but I probably get, I'd say easily 40, maybe 50 phone calls a year asking for, is there a Snowie in this area? And I get them in all kinds of states. In fact, I just had one last week that was in southern Georgia, and we gave them the contact information for the people that are in that area. And so we even start seeing that now as it goes on. But the key is that you can easily put your name in here. We go through, we approve it to make sure there's nothing inappropriate being said. But again, this is something exclusively for those marketing under the Snowie name. And so it gives added value and branding to those that are in there and marketing that. The third thing we do, that we go down this, and I kind of should have backed up a step. The broadcast, we're putting together emails, letters. I'm going to jump off that again. Go back. Here are some examples. These are postcards that you could send out to people. This has to be one for the bus. This was done, if you can tell in the background, is the color day. We've been having some fun with the idea of all the snow days we've been having, at least up in the northeast part of the U.S. and the Midwest, that the snow day is kind of a big fun thing, and we build off that and talk about some other ways to have that. So, kids want a snowy day, bring us to your school or your event. Give your customer something more. So these are things you can mail to businesses. You can email to schools and PTA presidents, any contacts that you have. Now there's materials that you can be sending out to them. And so we can do it from a variety of ways. In the middle of summer, this is a great one to send to a business that they happen to work outdoors. Maybe it's a welding shop or something of that nature. Here's just fun. You have the event. We'll bring the ice. Just tell us what you want. Call us. We'll get it all set up, and we'll deliver it, take care of everybody, and knock out all the snow cones you want. I'm going to, can I blow this up? By the way, we're going to be talking about apparel. This is one of our new Snowie shirts that we've done here in Cincinnati. But this might be kind of fun to see. This is You Crave It, We Shave It, Snowie. So we like to have a little bit of fun with some different kinds of T-shirts and that as well. So continuing down, presentation materials for locations, events, promotional materials, as we've been talking about, but also from the business side. We talked about the business plans. Some of you have watched our webinar or talked with me personally about the scheduling program and how to manage. And people are saying, how do you manage, hire the kids? We give that, but it's one of the biggest tricks is learning how to get the kids to be there. How do they know when they're going to do it? Most people use an Excel spreadsheet. Not needed anymore. This is an online scheduling system that, depending on how many employees you have, can run from $200 to $300 a year. And when I have 48 kids on my payroll, we had last year almost 2,700 shifts, and I had a total of 4 shifts missed for the entire year. Why? It's that when to work program, and that gives access. So the marketing materials that we've been talking about, we're looking at a quarterly newsletter. There will be some webinars that are going to be done exclusively for Snowie related customers. We do a lot of them are generic to the public, but there are some we're working on that will be for those using the Snowie name only, and so there will be some added value. We just talked about the apparel that's on there. We have a Snowie mascot. I think I actually had, where was the picture of my Snowie mascot? There's his face right there. We actually have a big one, and you can rent that and use that for different kinds of things. So here's the question. What is required in order to be able to be a part of this? Well, you sign a product marketing agreement. So if I sign this agreement, what am I agreeing to? One, you agree to use the Snowie name and live by a set of guidelines. We don't want you to use it inappropriately. We just want to see where the name's being used that we can say, yeah, that's fine. It's branding and protection of that branding, that somebody isn't going to do something that hurts you or us. It means you're going to use the Snowie flavors. That's the only mandated requirement of something you must purchase. You don't have to buy cups. You don't have to pay franchise fees. There's no royalties. There's no territories, nothing. We just want the quality of that flavor. That's one of the things we're most famous for, is the quality of flavor. We want you to use that Snowie flavor so it tastes like a Snowie. You don't want to open a Pepsi and have it taste like a Dr. Pepper. Or actually, I should say, you don't want to open a Dr. Pepper and have it taste like a Coke. I'm a Dr. Pepper fan, so I got to be nice to them. The equipment must be in good repair. You don't want something that looks ratty and beat up. And so we watch that and check on it periodically. Again, we're not trying to pay Big Brother. We're just trying to protect the quality of that, and that we do that. And I think anybody that's using the Snowie name wants that as much as we do. And so it's that visual appeal that we're trying, not just the quality, but something that draws people in, makes them think of that. But with that, again, you're going to gain access to the Snowie expertise. And that means also all the resources and materials as we talked about. Now, the question we always get asked is, okay, so this is just like a franchise. No, again, no franchise, no territory, no royalties, no franchise fee, nothing. Okay, so what does it cost for this? Well, the answer would be zero, zilch, nada, nine, nothing. I was going to see if I could come up with 40 different ways of saying nothing. What does it mean? You sign an agreement, buy our flavors, and use our name properly. That's it. And nothing more complex than that. But what you're gaining off of that is all of this and us to back it. So let's open it up for questions. Aaron, you want to throw anything in?
No, I think yeah, that was great. I'm going to try opening it up here and see if we can get some vocal ones. Let's see how this works out. If you do, when I do this, if you do have some noise in the background, maybe just mute yourself. That way we can have a conversation anyway. If you're in a loud environment, just mute yourself when I unmute you.
Now, as he's talking about that, folks, you'll see where your name is in the middle where it shows attendees. There are microphones, and you can just click.
Sorry, Lyle, I cut you off.
Yeah, I know. But just click on the little microphone to the left of your name, and it will mute that, and you can click it off to talk to us. So, does anybody have any questions you'd like to ask? Oh, where's that art agreement? I know you put that in there. I'll be saying that to you.
Hey, Lyle. Hang on. Okay, that was a little chaotic. So Lyle, I unmuted you. Go ahead and address. Are you there, Lyle?
Yeah. Somebody's asking the question: are you going to make street flags with the curved tops? Aaron,
we've never done that. We actually are coming. We've actually introduced a brand new windsock. The windsocks have been huge for us. There's a lot of other vendors that use those flags and use similar flags off of theirs. We felt like one of the unique things that we've done has been our windsock. We actually have some Snowie branded ones now, so it will actually say Snowie on the windsock. It actually has a guy's face on it too. But those are going to be launched here really shortly. In fact, I think we've got them. So by the end of this week, we have a new windsock that we'll be able to use. But again, here's another benefit. When you sign the marketing agreement, you have access to what Lyle showed you before. A lot of that is all of the logos, the background images, everything. So if you wanted to go and make street flags and have a printer in your area be able to provide that for you, you have the logos, you have the images that you can do that. Now you cannot tweak the logo, you can't change that. And if it is going on something that, like you change the background and things, we need to approve that. But in a nutshell, you can go and make your own. So it's nice like that.
Now, in addition to that, correct me if I'm wrong, Aaron, but I think we have also created one for the natural line.
Yeah, we have all look for the natural line. Oh, you mean a windsock?
So there's a windsock. I know it was in design, and I thought they had finished that was being done for the naturals as well. So you could have a unique windsock that was a natural windsock and had some stuff on it about natural.
Yeah, that one I wasn't involved in that. I haven't seen that. I've seen a yellow one. I've seen a blue one so far. But if you were talking about that, then I'm sure it's being done.
Yeah. And we did have the question, and I think you addressed it. Can I make my own? Yes, we would provide those materials. That's part of the Snowie marketing agreement. Once that's signed, that you have access to the name to do that. So yeah, by all means.
And I actually have a private message that somebody who has put their location up on the location site, and it was Robbie actually. And Robbie, I actually didn't see your submission, so I've actually approved that just now, so you should see it immediately as soon as I approve it. And I did that just previous to this meeting. We have another one. Do you have a photo of the new windsock?
We have a photo of the new windsock.
You know
yeah.
I'm here. Give me a minute, Lyle. Address some more questions, and I'll see if I can go grab it and get a picture on here. 1 second.
Okay. So while Aaron's doing that, that means you guys need to ask me some questions, or otherwise we're going to have a lot of dead space. Now, I'm going to jump over. And by the way, looking at this, people do ask occasionally with the locations. When you click here on Submit, this is on the website. You can go to Find a Snowie Vendor, click on Submit Location. And the first, you'll see 3 prices here, $10, $5, and free. Click on the free. You can put 5 locations to be listed at no cost. If you're going over 5, we charge $5 a month. So, like I want to do it, I have 12 locations that we'll be doing. It would cost me $10 a month. Most people, you can do that for free. And you click the listing details, put your information in, submit it. It goes through our approval process, and it's posted on there. Sorry, a couple of other questions. Mike, can Aaron take a picture of your bus? It's in construction. That's the other end of the warehouse. I don't think he's going to make it there. Tanya, I just registered my business name today, and I want to follow the Snowie system and use Snowie flavors, so Snowie name can be used as a parent company of my own. Yeah, you can have, your brand can be any, your company can be any company name you want. It can just be XYZ. My company is Rupp Family Enterprises. You're doing what is called a DBA, or a doing business as. That gives you permission to use the Snowie, but what we're looking at is, we don't want the building to say Fred Astaire's snow cones. It needs to say Snowie. Then you have access to all of these materials. And that's it, is giving you that instant access to the recognition, the branding, all that by putting the name on it. Your name that you register, we give permission as part of that market agreement is what is called, again, a DBA, or a doing business as, allows you to do business under the as Snowie, so you can go call up an event and say, hi, this is Lyle with Snowie, even though you're not technically Snowie, but you have that permission to use it. And so that's what part of that marketing agreement is designed to do, to allow you to do that. Thank you for asking that. And Mike, I'll work on getting you a picture. I know you would like to see where the process is on the building of your bus. We'll get there quickly.
Hey, Lyle, I'm back.
Okay. Do you want me to send?
I'm going to do this through video. So this won't be. The unfortunate part of this is it won't be broadcast. It doesn't record this part. Well, let's see where I am.
Oh, so everybody that's watching will see it, but on the webinar it won't be seen.
That's correct.
If you're watching it after the fact on YouTube, you won't see this. Okay.
So here's a bag that it comes in. If you've seen our windsocks in the past, they get really beat up and they get dirty. They were hard to keep clean, and so one thing that we wanted to do is we wanted to give it a bag. So you can now, when you take it off, you have some place to tuck it into. And obviously you could have done this before on your own, but a lot of people will just tuck it back into the blower and transport it like that, and it gets beat up. So, and this is real nice because it actually Velcros all around and attaches to the blower. So you're not using anything else like a third item to hold it to it. You can actually put it on, it Velcros to it, it bites to it really hard, and then when you're done, you just tear the thing off and you can put it back. So the other ones are difficult to take on and off, which is why they ended up shoving them back in the blower also. So now you can just take them off, put them on, really, really simple.
Hey, so nice earphones there, Aaron. You look like an alien.
Woo. Beady, beady. So, all right, so this is, oh, you know what? This doesn't have.
You just froze up.
Oh,
there you go again.
This is missing part. So it actually has hair, but it's actually branded Snowie too, and this windsock doesn't have it. Let me pull up another one here. I wonder if these are. Oh, here we go. This one's got it. So this was a blue one. So it had a blue. So you could actually buy different colors, know by the bag which ones they are. That out. And so you can see this. So all around the inside of this is all Velcro. So now it's very, very easy to get this around your blower, attach it, bites real hard, and then it's very easy to take off. And then the blower has Snowie on it, and it has this guy at the top, and he does this. So that's it. And we'll have those on our website. It should be tomorrow.
Robbie's asking are you showing your screen? Somebody may not be able to see the live video you're projecting. So Robbie, I apologize. He's just doing a video broadcast on top of this that's not technically part of the webinar, but it should have been broadcasting out to everybody. We can just use a live camera. And it doesn't record on the normal. So if that's not showing up, I apologize for that. Oh, that is gone.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
any other questions? Thank you, Aaron, for taking the time to show that. We ought to probably get a picture of that and get it out on the website as quick as possible.
yeah, we will. Anything else?
Okay. Well, rather than drag this out, we want to say, most of all, thank you. Now, this isn't one of the more exciting ones, but we want to get you an idea of the value and benefit of the Snowie name and what it brings to the table. I'm sure we'll think of 100 other things we would have added to that after we've gone through a few more days. We're endless looking. Again, as always, we encourage you to submit to us ideas you would like to see for future webinars or materials that we can do to help with it. A lot of you give us some great suggestions for marketing materials, and we'll continue to design and develop and expand on those as we go forward. So the greatest source we have for new ideas and materials is you guys, our customers. And we just want to always say thank you for all you do to help build and promote the Snowie brand and name, because it helps not just us, but most especially it helps you as the people travel around the world and pop in wherever you happen to be located. So until our next one, what is we, 2 weeks, Aaron?
In 2 weeks. Hey, I also want to add, we are going to be doing a contest here soon. One of my favorite things on our website is a segment we did on your story, which is basically you talking about your business, what you did before, why you chose Snowie, how you've been doing since you've had Snowie, things like that. And those are hard stories to get from somebody unless you give them some incentive. And so last year we actually gave away a shaver, and we are going to do that again this year. So please be watching out for that. Brush up on your story. It's actually will be a written segment and or a video segment. So you can either write a story or you can do a video of that. And anyway, we're going to be launching that contest here soon. So watch for that and participate.
And as always, one of the most critical things is feel free to give us a call or questions. I'm going to real quickly, of course, it never works when I want it to.
Lyle, the logo on your screen
I'm going to type my phone number in here, and now it won't work.
Is your embroider logo?
Is what?
Is that your embroider logo?
I don't know why it's like that. You're going to have to give me I think it's just a bad logo. No, it's not my embroidered. Give me a new pair. Aaron will supply me with this stuff, folks. We're supposed to get all these great logos, and I get this digitized PDF, and they won't get the real one.
You know that folder you were showing everybody? It's got the sweet one in there.
Oh, that's good. If you want to reach us,
there you
go. Oh, I love changes color. Well, why did that do that?
Change.
Oh, it's automatic because it's a link. Because it's an email. Sorry, folks. All you can see is Lyle@snowie.com, but it's in a dark red. So if you want to reach us, feel free, whether you're watching this live or watching this later on YouTube or on our media category, our link to the video categories. Feel free to email us with any questions or ideas, suggestions. Above all, thank you again for doing business. We have a couple more questions, Aaron. Can your promo I think that's a legitimate question we should ask, because I would like to a couple of things. One is not only can they do the flags, but there are different kind of mounts. I was looking at one the other day that you could put it on, like if you had a Snowie bus, you could literally put it underneath a tire. Or if I had a kiosk that I was in an event, and I could put it under a tire that waves, or I can stick it out, stick it in the ground somewhere. So there's a number of ways of mounting that as well, and I'd like to see 3 or 4 mount ideas. So, Brian, it's a great question. Let us do a little bit of research and see if we can't get something while we're doing all the windsocks variations of that. We shouldn't be able to do a flag. as well.
And that's what I was going to say. Really, it's the answer is yes. They can do anything we want them to do. So if there's a demand for flags, then absolutely we can do that. And my guess is why not? We'll go ahead and move forward on that, and because there will be a demand for it. So
yeah, I think Brian
we'll move forward on it.
Didn't Brian say he wanted 15 of them? No,
I didn't see that.
I'm kidding. I was just trying to get Brian to respond with how many he wanted. But I think we'll just commit him to 15 since he's not responding.
He needs 4.
Yep. Okay. Well, folks, again, unless there's any further questions, we're going to call it a day. As always, we're long-winded. We try to keep this to a half hour. We're now at 47 minutes. So we will draw the pain and suffering to a close and look forward to seeing you at our next webinar. Have a good night.